healthy goat. That will include some source of carbohydrate, more carbohydrate than the grass has, which usually will be some grains, and some protein, which will usually be some legume, either beans or a derivative of beans or soya or something from that part of the agricultural system. In addition, even if you give carbohydrate and protein and they don't have the balance of minerals that they need, both trace minerals and macro minerals, calcium on the macro mineral example, trace minerals like selenium, because I saw some stories, some postings earlier in the week on selenium, then your goats still will not perform as well as they should. So the answer to that question is you need all of this of the right quality and of the right proportion for the goats to have a balanced diet. Goats also need balanced diet, but of all this, in terms of volume and significance, you need grass.
At Mr. Red Goat Farm. See me, you're not looking at me. I'm giving you a thumbs up.
Sorry, I'm multitasking at the same time. I have two computers. Just you can't just sit down, but keep going.
I'm impressed. I'm educated. I'm inspired. Thank you so very much. Right now we have Joshua Olaniyan in the house already. Cattle Plug. He's going to introduce himself, but I'm going to be referring to him as Cattle Plug. Joshua Olaniyan, are you there? I see you now. Yeah, you're looking handsome.
Thank you.
So please, at this point, we've gone a little bit into the webinar, but please introduce yourself to us now. What you want us to really know about you, let us know. Give it to us.
Yeah, I am Josiah Olaniyan. I would say I'm a farmer, a practicing one. My company is called Cattle Plug. We are into consultancy. We establish farm, stores for animals, for farmers, plant pasture, fair grass, and other ruminant accessories. We are majorly dealing with ruminants. We sell forage choppers and the like. So we train people on silage production when there's need for it. We train your farm manager. That is what we do basically. My educational background, I think I have some animal science background from FUNAB, Animal Production and Health, UHI, Master Degree in Animal Production and Management. I did a dairy science master degree in Germany. So I've worked with I worked with Shonga Dairy Farm in Kwara State, and I was part of the team that started the Iku Dairy Farm. When I left Iku Dairy Farm, I went into full-time consultancy, which is Cattle Plug. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cattle Plug. Well, I'm going to be referring to you in the process of this webinar as Cattle Plug because I'm used to that name. Yeah, so please, you're going to work on your audio. Let your phone be a little bit close to your mouth so that the participant can be hearing you.
Okay, let me disconnect the earphone then. Maybe that's the problem.
Okay, or it should be close to you. The phone should be a little bit closer.
Like this.
Okay. Say something now. Let's see if your sound is okay.
Hello.
Yes, the sound is okay now.
All right.
Okay, so to the participants, every other person out there, there is under your screen, there is the chat. There's an icon for chat. That chat, you're supposed to be sending your questions through that place. You type your question on the chat and you send it. There's someone on the background who's going to collate all those questions and give it to me. Then I'll ask it to the guest speakers. I hope we understand. If you understand what I say, please give me a wave. Let me see that you understand. There's a chat icon at the bottom of your screen. On that chat icon, I think we're having one question there now, one chat there. Just send any question you're having for the host, guest speakers. Any question you're having for them, yeah. Send that question. Okay, you send that question, and then someone will collate them and give it to me later. Then I'll ask them to Cattle Plug, to the guest speakers. Now, Mr. Cattle Plug, a question went on before you came in. I want you to talk to us on that question. The question is, what type of feed is most suitable for goats and cattle?
Yeah, I think it has been answered perfectly. I will just
Yes.
chip in a bit of science to it.
Yes. Yes.
Because he has said it all. He has said it all, actually. What I just want to add is any feed that we are giving our animal, we should just put it in the best position that is easy for them to consume. If you are presenting the grass, it should be a very tender grass that is not up to maturity, that is not yet mature. The best time to give an animal feed, let me just put it this way, any time that a grass has flowered and the flower is already getting mature, is out of the way, it's no longer suit for animals. So at the early stage of flowering, it's still manageable. But as soon as the flower sets in and the seeds are there, showing very mature, it's not the best at that stage. It's not the best. So harvest your grass or present it to them at a very tender age when it is not yet, he said not lignified. I will just say when it is not just turned to fiber. Because if it matures too much, all the nutrients that is supposed to be digestible, they will no longer be there. It will just be more of fiber, like you are just feeding like someone that is just eating gari every day. Gari is even more nutritious because it has a high level of carbohydrates. I'm thinking of like someone is just eating wood, like human being is just eating wood. That is what it is when you are feeding animal very mature grass. So it must be tender, it must be at very early age. That is when you give your grass. So if I am taking it to, you also have to consider the protein, the energy. So that is why we always have variety of grasses that you can use for your animals. You have one that are high in protein, you have those that are high in energy source. Most of their legumes are high in protein, and most of the major grasses, they are high in energy, which is carbohydrate. So when you are presenting your feed, you should consider those two. And he also said it's not enough for grass alone, but grass is very important. You should look at if you have other source of feed that are available in your area, soya waste. So we were deliberating on something in the group some few weeks ago. Although for starters, you can use all those resources. It's available there. Soya waste, pulp waste, and the like. They can also contribute a bit of fiber to your animals. So the protein also is very important. And the best source of protein are always leguminous substances. So you can think of soya and the like. We have soya, we have groundnut, we have all these dicotyledonous plants. They are so much high in our protein. You should consider that too. But for every farmer, we are looking at our profit. You need to work out a feed that will give you the best result at the minimal price. So the environment now matters. That's where the environment comes in. Look at what is cheap in your environment. That is what you bring together to give your animal the best feed. So you consider the energy, the protein, the minerals, they are very important. So as we go along, we can talk about some other alternatives that can be included, although they are not conventional. I tell people they may not be conventional, or if you want me to say it now, so that maybe I will not forget.
Yeah, say it now, please. Yes, say it now.
Okay.
That's why we're here.
I told some of my friends in the business that you can include broiler litter into your feed, and your animal will still be fine. At the stage in America, cattle venture, they use broiler litter to feed their animals. But when they were advancing, they brought it to a stop because they have enough resources. They have resources to plant soya. They have enough resources to plant maize. They have enough resources to plant variety. They have the land to plant the grasses they need. If you see animal on their pasture, they put like 3 animals on 1 acre of land. and you see the animal doing very fine. But here, in our own side, we don't have those facilities. I am not sure if a farmer is having 500 hectares of land in Nigeria for animals. So we don't have all those facilities. So we can work with things that are possible. I have used poultry litter in some of my research, and it works very well. So you can include some percentage of poultry litter. There is a way you process it that will be palatable to the animal, and they will do very good on it. Okay. So maybe along the line, we can still talk about that, how you make it presentable to them, if there is anybody that is interested in it. Thank you.
Okay, at Josiah, Mr. Cattle, I have, from the question you asked, I want you to explain something to us. When we plant grasses on our field, our grazing field, you said we should get the grasses before the seed comes out. And most times we have seen a field, we have seen a situation where a field is planted with grasses because the animals are grazing on it and the seeds are not coming out to replant on the ground by itself. The grass will die off, it will wear out. So if we're harvesting the grasses before the seed comes out, how do we continue the process of the grass? I believe you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. We've established Napier for more than 50 farmers in Okiogun area and Oyo State and Kwara State. What I tell them is, I don't want you to come back to me next year to buy cuttings again. When you plant, leave a section of your farm that you will not touch. So this will be your bank for next year planting. That is for Napier. If you are talking about Bracharia, Bracharia is a perennial crop. There is a stage when you plant Bracharia, you leave it for about 4 months before you start harvesting. So that time, it would have established its roots very well. Even if they graze it to soil that is bringing out soil, when there is presence of water or rain, the roots will germinate again because it is already established, because you did not graze it at very early stage. So you leave the grass for the root to be established. And we have variety of grass. We have annual and we have perennial. If it is annual grass, that means it will not grow next year. If you are planting some of the legumes we use, like lab, it is annual. So you plant it once. That means next year you are planting again. So you can leave a section of your farm. Maybe it is a plot that you will not touch, that your animal will not touch. So you can secure the area. That is when you have your seed bank. That is where you harvest your seed every year. So I have some farmers that are supplying Napier. I told them, leave a section, don't cut it. So when you are planting next year, even if you are going to buy from me, that means it will be a little quantity from the section you left. Maybe that place is not enough. That is what we do. So you leave out a section that is not touched at all. You allow it to mature to the stage. You can harvest the seed and plant.
Thank you very much, Mr. Catoplo. At Mr. Redgood Farm, you've been in this thing practically for some years now. How do you ensure that the plantation you have does not die? How do you sustain them from dying?
I'm a Yoruba boy. I think the elders in the house can help you translate that. Where you want to eat my the one that they make in the leaf, the chances are you won't put the big part in your mouth first. That is how, in my opinion, any farming endeavor should be. At the onset, even before you stock, you need to have considered how you are going to feed the animals. And in that consideration, you would have a plan for progression. It is that plan for progression that will deal with the question that has just been answered by Cattle Plug, amongst others. It is that progression and the plan that you have that would help you not overgraze the pasture early. So Cattle Plug has given us the technical indications. Your grasses must be rooted. If they are not rooted and the plant eats the top and the root come out, that is dead. But if, for example, Bracharia has been in the ground for one rainy season my brother, even fire cannot kill it.
Mm.
The same with Panicum maximum, Guinea grass. The same with Andropogon dianos. Forgive me, I studied Greek originally, so the botanical names stick in my mind more than the common names. Cattle
Yes.
block, I think you're a bit younger than I am. You would have to help me from your lesson notes. I think it's 300 level. I left university in 1989, guys. So it's beginning to tell. So I would argue that the biggest risk you have is overgrazing or grazing too early. What we have on our farm is a diversified food source. Let me try and explain that. It's not the question you ask, but it will help answer the question.
It will help us.
The first thing we did when we got hold of the land, finally, after about 6 years of trouble, is we got hold of the land at the end of August. So there was not a lot left that year, but I was determined to put 2 hectares of pasture down, which we did successfully. That 2 hectares was 1.5 hectares of Panicum and 0.5 hectare of Bracharia. We now have about 4 hectares of pasture on its side. We use the pasture in 3 ways. If you have enough water supply, you can cut your Panicum up to 8 times in one season. That goes to the point about it not getting fibrous. And we can tell when it's fibrous. When it's fibrous, our rabbits like them, by the way. They like the sugarcane part that is making cuckoo in their mouths. But for the goats, there's very little left other than noise and shaft. So you have to have a regime that cuts the grass. We do not allow the animals graze on an uncontrolled way. We break it up and we move them. And in between, we harvest 4 times a year while they graze for the rest of the time of the year. We harvest Panicum about 8 times. Bracharia is actually much more interesting, and we have 2 types of Bracharia. Mulatto 2 is fantastic. That's the one that is not plentiful in the market, in the seed market. Mulatto 2 is now institutionalized in Kenya. And if you go to Kenya, the government is pushing it aggressively. It's called milk grass because it causes cattle to increase in the volume of milk they produce. Mulatto 2 will grow to your waist. I'm 6 foot tall. It will grow to your waist by the 2nd month of the rainy season. So if you do not cut it, as they say in Hausa, it will go to Lalashe. So number 1, we cut aggressively, and we have a machine that cuts. We cut aggressively. Mulatto 2, we can cut up to 8 times a year, even though the animals are grazing it. Between these 2, we use some for day feed. It means we cut it, we wilt it, we feed it to the animals that same day or the following day. We use some, the excess, for hay. And when we are silaging, we use it to fill part of our silage pit. We don't use it alone, we mix it with other things, grind it and put it in the silage pits. So that is ongoing, but that is not the major source of food that we have on the farm. We crop 5 hectares of land. In the 3 years, I have cropped either millet, guinea corn, or maize. And there are different reasons why I'm moving around. God spare us all, I have narrowed it down. This year and going forward, we would only plant sugar, graze, sorghum. The volumes are beyond what you can imagine. Some of them are multi-cut. You can cut them several times in the year. The animals love it, although you have to be careful how you feed it to the animals. So between the grass in the pasture and our 5 hectares of deliberate farming, we farm to feed our goats. Even the corn, we give it to our goats largely, both the cobs and the stalk. We have enough, and our carrying capacity at the moment is 500 goats. We will expand again this year. That's the carrying capacity of the food that we produce. Like I said, year before, we did 350 tons of silage. This year, we pulled back a bit because we lost quite a number of goats in February last year. So we pulled back a bit, and I think we did just under 300 tons. That's a lot of silage.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We have some questions on silage, but I want to just ask a little question so I can round up this question and then we'll go to another section. This question is, I want us to just use like two minutes to attend to this particular question. The question is saying, what quantity of feed is a goat on zero grazing needing? What quantity of feed does a goat on zero grazing need? That's just the question. I'm just throw some light on it in 2 minutes. We have another question you talk on that one to attend to. So at a cattle plug, give us first. How do I feed my goat on zero grazing? How much feed should I give to my goat on zero grazing? Zero grazing, okay. So cattle plug, please.
Thank you. Every animal have their normal nutrient requirements. And I always say the best you can give your animal is when they have all these requirements. They only eat what the body requirement deserve. So, and there is a